And welcome back to Monday Evening Quarterback. I hope you guys enjoyed the first half of the show. Christian Simpson here. Um, what a weekend of football. Talk college. The first half of the show, Miami going down, Ohio State dominating again, and I truly think that the Alabama Crimson Tide, I really believe I think they're the best team in the SEC. It's no disrespect to Texas A&M, but the way this Alabama team has regrouped and how they've responded after that week 1 loss to Florida State in Tallahassee, like they have really come a long way. And like I said, when you guys check it out later, Ty Simpson is playing some of the best football in America right now. So we talked about the kids. Now it's time to talk about where these kids plan to be in a year or a couple of years from now, and that's the NFL. It's week 7. Wow. I even said this on my Instagram yesterday. Like, the time is flying. Next week, we're at the halfway mark. Where to start? Let's start at Cincinnati. Thursday night football, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals. They were calling this the Icy Hot Bowl. The second oldest quarterback matchup in NFL history. And I remember the first. It was the Buccaneers and the Saints, Tom Brady and Drew Brees, in the divisional round of the playoffs. The year Tampa won it in Brady's first year with Tampa Bay. Tampa ended up winning that game, and that ended up being the final game of Drew's future Hall of Fame career. I like what I've seen from the Steelers. Like, offensively, they want to be more balanced. Aaron Rodgers, and I think this goes for any quarterback, when these guys get older, they can't take games over in the manner that they have in the past. Aaron Rodgers maybe at the most can throw the ball no more than 32 times a game. The Steelers have to get back to the basics, running the football. Defensively, they're softer than wet paper towels. I've said that since week 1 against the Jets, and yeah, they haven't really regrouped. And it's time for Jalen Ramsey to become a safety. He needs to take the Charles Woodson approach because, he just can't do it at corner anymore. Looking at the stats right here, Aaron Rodgers was 23 of 34. 249 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And there was a video that came out after Aaron did something well. One of his offensive linemen playfully tackled him, but Aaron wasn't happy about that. And to be quite honest, I kind of can't blame him because he's a little older now, and he's 2 years removed from that Achilles injury when he tore it when he was with the Jets. I understand it, but hey, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. And Joe Flacco, 31 of 47, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns. And the Bengals actually tried to run the football. I know entering this game, they were dead last in rushing attempts and just running the football in general. But Chase Brown had 108 yards, and as a team, they ran the ball for 142 yards. But the star of the game was Jamar Chase. 16 receptions, 161 yards, and 1 touchdown. It just kind of seems like it doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. Just put him out there, and good things are going to happen. The Bengals did win this game 33-31. Pretty entertaining game if you had the chance to watch it. Um, the Rams just had their way with Jacksonville across the pond in London. Matthew Stafford, 21 of 33, 182 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Wasn't sacked once. Trevor Lawrence, on the other hand, 23 of 48, 296 yards passing and 1 touchdown. He was sacked 7 times. One of the strong points for Jacksonville this year has been their rushing attack, and it was pretty neutralized by the Rams. And Devontae Adams, he still has it. I don't care what anyone says. He's still elite, and he's always going to be in my top 5 list of wide receivers, and he's one of the smoothest route runners I've ever laid eyes on. He caught 3 of the 5 touchdowns Stafford threw. Rams win 35-7. The Bears are handling business. They won that game 26-14, and I like the fact that the Bears established DeAndre Swift, 19 carries, 124 yards, and the 1 touchdown. And they're not putting everything on Caleb Williams' plate. 15 of 26, 172 yards passing, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked once. If the Bears can clean up the penalties and take better care of the ball, we have something brewing in Chicago. And I'd like to see them use Colston Loveland a little bit more. I think with the way Ben Johnson wants to run this offense, Colston could kind of be like the Bears version of Sam Laporta. The Dolphins just quit. They made the Cleveland Browns look like a contender in the AFC, 31-6. I believe 2 or 3 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 12 of 23, 100 yards passing, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Dylan Gabriel just kind of had to control things, 13 of 18, 116 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, no, it's been a struggle for Cleveland. Excuse me. The Chiefs had a scrimmage today against the Las Vegas Raiders, and this is the healthiest the Chiefs have been all year long. Xavier Worthy, I know he's been in and out the lineup. Rashee Rice, he was suspended for the first 6 games. And Hollywood Brown, he's been there, but I think when a quarterback has all his weapons, you see the difference. And Mahomes was locked in yesterday. 26 of 35, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pacheco contributed 57 yards on the ground. Kelsey was your leading receiver. But you see the difference this offense makes with Rashee Rice on the field. 7 receptions, 42 yards on 10 targets, and he caught 2 touchdowns, and Hollywood Brown caught the other one. The Chiefs got the band back together. Just watch out. That's all I'm going to say. The Raiders are 2-5. Didn't even bother to get off the bus. Didn't even show up for this one. The Raiders need something. I just don't know what it is. Like Geno Smith, he ain't cutting it. The Raiders' offensive line, they're not built to run block. But yeah, the Chiefs are 4-3, starting to round in the form. Wasn't going to count them out. Now, let's talk about the team that they played in the Super Bowl and lost to last year. And lost to earlier in the year in week 2. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the Eagles and what the issue is with them. I'll tell you. I was telling somebody, yeah, they have a winning record, but I don't go by records. Like, a record doesn't imply that a team is that good. I go by the overall performance on the field, and I haven't been happy with the Eagles. If anything, they've looked pretty lackluster at times. Could have lost the game against Dallas in week 1. Didn't look the greatest against Kansas City in week 2. They were down 19 to the Rams and then had to fight back in the second half in week 3. Week 4 against Tampa, they came out on fire first half, and I'm saying to myself, okay, the Eagles got it. And maybe they found their swagger again. And then they let Tampa climb back into the game. But luckily, they were able to escape with the victory, right? Week 5 is when everything caught up to them. It always does. I say this with the Kansas City Chiefs. I said it with the Georgia Bulldogs earlier, and I'll say it here with the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't just snap your fingers and expect to just turn it on and play your best football, because that's not going to always be the case. So they got humbled against Denver, got humbled against the New York Giants. So what would they do against the Philadelphia Eagles? And from what I saw as I was watching that game yesterday, they found ways to get the ball in the hands of their best receiving playmaker in A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith also had himself a day, too. I thought this was going to be the game where Saquon Barkley gets it started, only had 44 yards on 18 carries. But Devontae Smith was the leading receiver, 9 receptions, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 121 yards with 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz threw 2 awful interceptions, and one of them was picked off. One of them was returned to the house for a pick 6. Philly, okay, they didn't look bad, but they didn't look great either. Their defense was kind of making me mad, but Minnesota also didn't help themselves either. Philly did win this game yesterday, 28-22. Jalen Hurts, 19-23, 326 yards passing and 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. So you saw the Eagles wanted to push the ball down the field. Once they get Saquon going, I personally think the game is over. Because they're going to be really tough to beat. The Patriots just continue to roll, 5-2. They're 4-0 on the road. They won another one, 31-13. This was Mike Vrabel's homecoming to Nashville. I've been so impressed with Drake May. And listen to these numbers right here. 21 of 23. 222 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. He completed 91% of his passes, which is now the most in franchise history. He surpassed the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady in a game completed 88% of his passes. I'm sure he's done that multiple times in his career. The Titans are a mess, and they're only going to be a mess until they get some stability within that organization. But New England, because of the head-to-head tiebreaker over Buffalo, because they beat them a couple of weeks ago, the Patriots are in first place in the AFC East. Buffalo was on the bye this week, and the Lord knows they needed it. Trying to think, what else can we discuss before I get out of here? Yeah, the Patriots look good. The Jets have yet to win a game. They're 0-7. The Carolina Panthers are 4-3. Ain't that something? Yeah. They play hard for Dave Canales. I must say that. The Giants, speaking of New York football teams, the Giants, they let an opportunity squander away. They had that game in Denver until they didn't have that game. And you got to be able to kick your extra points and make them at that. Denver won a thrilling game, 33-32. Denver's 5-2. They're in the grand scheme of things in the AFC. The game of the day on paper was the Indianapolis Colts and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are definitely not the team that we thought they were when they were 3-0. I'll just put it to you like that. And you got to give the Colts a lot of credit because they flew to the West Coast and punched the Chargers in the mouth. I really like this duo of Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor. As far as the Chargers, I can tell they miss Omarion Hampton, and they definitely miss Najee Harris. Najee's done for the rest of the year, and Omarion is, he's dealing with an injury now. I think when they get him back, he's going to bring a little bit more stability and balance. But Justin Herbert threw the ball 55 times. That's way too much. 37-55, 420 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he was also the leading rusher. Jonathan Taylor was held under 100 yards, but as a team, the Colts still ran the ball for 120 yards. And Daniel Jones, 23-34, 288 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. This is a big win for the Colts. And they didn't just win, they beat them by 14 points. 38-24. The Colts have the best record in the AFC. Who would have thought that as we were approaching week 8? Shane Steichen has a really good thing brewing up out there in Indianapolis. The Colts average 32 points a game. That's the most they've averaged since the Andrew Luck era. Believe it or not, yesterday was the best I've seen the Cowboys look all year long. I knew it would be a little bit of trouble for the Commanders without Deebo Samuel and without Terry McLaurin, especially Terry, because Terry, he is the straw that stirs the drink for this Washington offense. Dak Prescott continues to impress. And CeeDee Lamb came back. Dallas ran the ball. CeeDee Lamb did what CeeDee Lamb does. Yeah, and Dak Prescott continues to look good. 21-30, 264 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. This was also the best I think I've seen Dallas's defense look all year long. For as good as their offense has been, just imagine if their defense follows suit. And we're talking about them being one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the National Football League. But, Dallas won this game 44-22. And the Packers got away with one. Got a scare from the Cardinals. The Cardinals started 2-0 at one time. They've lost their last 5 games. 27-23. I want to know, as you guys listen to this, what caught your eye in week 7 of the NFL? That's all I pretty much have. A little look ahead to both Monday Night Football games. I'll start on the West Coast. Seattle, they're hosting CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. I don't know what version of the Houston offense is going to show up. Defensively, they're going to be ready to play. But, I think the Seattle pass rush, they're going to be amped up by the crowd. They're going to get after CJ. Yeah, I think Seattle wins this game. I just think they're the better team, and I trust Sam Darnold a little more than I do CJ Stroud. And then the big one tonight, Buccaneers, Lions. As I mentioned when I was bringing the show in, these teams have seen each other quite a bit. They played in 2023 in Tampa. The Lions beat them. A couple months later, they meet in the playoffs. Lions beat them to get to the NFC Championship. And then they play last year, week 2, and Tampa beats them. Look, Baker Mayfield would be my MVP with flying colors if the award were given today. He has been incredible this year. He's locked in. He's lost receivers, and he's still getting the job done. Mike Evans is expected to be back, so that gives him his possession receiver. The Lions, they didn't look all that good last week against Kansas City. That was actually the worst I've seen them look since week 1 against Green Bay. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the X factor because Tampa Bay, they love to blitz and throw a lot of exotic looks. And if you know anything about Todd Bowles, he'll disguise one thing and then just end up sending everybody. And that's where I think Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown are really going to thrive because a lot of the field's going to be open. And if they can use that short, quick passing game to neutralize what Tampa wants to do defensively, good things are going to happen. I'm going to take Detroit. I like them to bounce back in a shootout. I think I predicted 34-30 when I wrote the preview on the site last week. We're going to go to questions real quick. Let's see if we have any. First, let's see. I'm looking. Okay. This one comes from Mike Duffy. Is Mike McDaniel able to get into the building on Tuesday? I think he's going to be fired next. It's inevitable at this point. The writing's on the wall. Yeah, he might be able to get in, and then maybe they fire him next week. That's just how the NFL is. With that being said, that was Monday Evening Quarterback. Thank you, guys. Excuse me. Thank you, guys, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as we have fun, as I have fun recording it for you. Keep up with us. Log on to the site, which is thedailyblitz.blog. Enter your email address. Become a subscriber today. And anything that gets posted on the site will be sent to your email address. Follow us on Twitter at DailyBlitz_61. Follow us on Instagram at TheDailyBlitz61. And follow my personal page at TheFootballAnalyst_61. Keep up with me on the radio every day during the week. Monday nights and Tuesday nights, you can catch me on Prime Sports World with David On Point, Israel Rivera, TJ Hopkins, and Matt James. Wednesday, you can catch me on The Betting Window with Ronnie Kump, Ryan Shaw, and John Danzo. Thursday, you can catch me on Snowman in the Morning with my man Brian Snow. And Fridays, you can catch me on College Football Showdown with Israel Rivera and Matt James on Prime Sports World. Got more great content coming your way on the site. Cannot wait to reveal what I'm previewing this week. Of course, I'm going to end the show with shout outs. So a huge shout out to my family, my beautiful mother and my beautiful sister, Taylor. Thank you guys for all you do for me, and I love you both oh so very much. My dog, better known as my son, Siebes, who just celebrated a birthday the other day, so happy belated son. My dad, love you, young man. Thank you for everything you do. My other siblings, Sean, who is actually about to be a dad himself. So congratulations, man. Wish I could have been there. But I was there in spirit. Can't wait to meet the little man. Give Blakeney my love. Sean, Janice, Tanisha, Daphne, my little adopted nephew, Aiden, Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, Kimmel Fryer, Candace Carter, Cole Johnson, our moderator D, and Cole is better known as Coach. Kevin Cooper, his wife Lynn, and their daughter Evelyn, who we refer to as Evie, and just everyone who supported the brand, Monday Evening Quarterback, or listen to me on every other show I contribute for. Thank you so very much. And to everybody I've contributed for in the past and who I currently contribute for, thank you, thank you, and thank you. Enjoy the doubleheader of Monday Night Football, and I will see you guys next week, God willing. Continue to send me your football questions. Enjoy the episode. It's Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, let's start that again. It's Monday Evening Quarterback on Spotify, YouTube, Blog Talk Radio, and now TikTok. I'm Christian Simpson, signing off. Meet me on Twitter tonight. I'm going to be talking about the Buccaneers and the Lions. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. I will see you guys tomorrow on the Prime and throughout the week. Just keep up with me, my regular radio appearances. Have a great rest of the night and have a great rest of the week. And until next week, I'll see you then.